High Holidays, 1974. Due to family circumstances, I grew up attending the First Baptist Church of Mission, Texas, although I'm 100% Jewish. I was into going to church, but I began to have doubts as a teen. Tracking the fears and attraction of exploring my Jewish side took up a lot of what I wrote in my journal then. I wrote about faith almost as much as I listed the teen beauties who I slow danced with at the sock hops after those Friday Night Light football games in Texas. The great inflection point came in September 1974. Here's a segment from my book, A Kosher Dating Odyssey, one former Texas Baptist quest for a naughty and nice Jewish girl. It records this point in life, both what I wrote then and my perspective on it decades later. On September 14, 1974, my mother drove me to Temple Emanuel in McAllen, where I met Rabbi Baynard. I was then 16 years old and didn't have a driver's license. I told the rabbi generally about my background and my late grandparents who had lived in Mission, but I could not admit I had accepted Christianity. Raw, scabrous guilt over colliding faiths silenced me. I felt like a fraud among the Jews and a backslider among the Baptists, with nobody to consult about my doubts. Instead, I bore a self-applied mark of Cain. I swallowed my emotions and presented a wildly distorted history. I wrote, "He showed me around the temple after giving me a yarmulke, which I kept. He showed me the Torah scrolls and the Ner Tamid, which is the eternal lamp that hangs above the scrolls. After a tour, he asked me if I had any more questions, if he could be of any more help. I should have told him I had attended church for 10 years, instead of telling him I never got around to coming to synagogue. But the drive toward a new path propelled me onward. On September 17, 1974, yes, exactly 47 years ago today, I wrote, Monday marked another of the icebergs of existence, almost a multi-first. I went to not only my first synagogue service, but my first Rosh Hashanah service. How's that for a dramatic announcement? I pumped up my courage and walked to the entrance. The door was held open, a good sign. Unsure of the next step, I read the memorial plaques until an elderly woman came by. She asked me if I was waiting for anybody. No, I'm visiting. Could you show me the seating arrangement? We entered the fellowship hall, as the good Baptists would say. I firmly, proudly put on the yarmulke. It felt quite natural, although as foreign to me in practice as wearing nylons. Parenthetical statement today. Talking about wearing a yarmulke and wearing nylons, what an image that was. I must have had a Harvey Fierstein vibe going on back then. Back home, my mother asked me why I'd been so secretive about going to the temple. I didn't think you cared, I told her. Don't say that, Van. You know I'm interested in everything I do. Can't you even talk to your own mother? Don't you trust me? She started crying. I had no reply for her. A week later, I attended Yom Kippur services. I was much more relaxed this time. I even struck up a conversation with a woman who was a convert from Catholicism. She seemed to understand my circumstances. She even said, "You must be lonely." "You're so right, lady, so right," I wrote in my journal. Well, I stopped going to church, but I lacked the strength to start going to temple, although the leader of the youth group called me once, a thoughtful gesture. By 1975, my identity and belief as a Southern Baptist was fading away, and I started down a wandering and still ongoing path of reinvention. My mother and I didn't talk about this. Still, she accepted my new identity. For Hanukkah 1979, she gave me this high necklace, which only comes off when I get an EKG. I got her a Yiddish Mama bag when I was in Israel in 1982. Sadly, she didn't live long enough to attend my wedding at a conservative synagogue in Brooklyn or meet her Jewish grandson. My wife and I named him Samuel in honor of her first name, Shirley. Still, I like to think Mom knows all about what I've become, watching down on me from the world to come. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Van. I loved your reference to sock hops. I mean, you don't hear that term used anymore. I remember my sister used to go to sock hops.
Okay.
And I also liked your term of raw scabrous.
Yeah, I was pretty hard on myself as a 16-year-old. I guess we all are.
Yeah, well, that left an image in my
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
Okay, so up next is